stadium, but inside the stars are always bright as the reigning American League MVP hopes that this is the weekend that the reigning AL Western Division champs find their offensive momentum. Fox Saturday Baseball welcomes you to Anaheim as the Seattle Mariners clash with the Los Angeles Angels. And welcome inside the broadcast booth with Eric Karros, Matt Vasgersian. Let's start with the Angels, Eric, hovering about 500 as they have oftentimes during this season and trying to take advantage of one particularly hot stretch. Albert Pujols has put together a month of June, the likes of which even he hasn't enjoyed before.
The 9-time All-Star is making a case to go to Cincinnati and play in the All-Star game again. Earlier this year in a 25-game stretch, he hit 15 home runs and struck out only 4 times. Since May 28th, he leads all of Major League Baseball in home runs, RBIs, OPS. He's been dynamite.
From a hot Angels superstar to a Mariners superstar, hoping for that kind of momentum. There are a lot of statistical similarities between the Angels and Mariners. We wouldn't be the first ones to tell you that the M's are only going to go as far as the likes of Robinson Cano can take them.
And he has struggled, but lately he's been swinging the bat pretty darn well. In his last 27 at-bats, he has 9 hits. He's hit a couple of home runs. He's been to the All-Star game 6 times. He's finished in the top 5 in MVP voting 4 times. They're looking for him to regain that form.
Mariners and Angels usually play close. Their last 11 have been decided by 3 runs or less. Lineups and opening pitch. Baseball Night in America is next. It could be characterized as one of hitter's haze. No bright sunshiny skies in Southern California today, though warm and pleasant. One could argue a perfect day for baseball. Baseball Night in America from Anaheim is ready to roll with Garrett Richards taking the ball for his 14th starting assignment of the season. And And he'll work to a Lloyd McClendon authored lineup card that looks like this. Logan Morrison lead off for the 15th time this month. That after 0 leadoff experience previously in his major league career. Fellow left-handed batters Seth Smith and Robinson Cano 2 and 3. Nelson Cruz and his 19 home runs bats cleanup today. Kyle Seager at third. Ex-Angel Mark Trumbo in right field in his return trip to Anaheim batting number 6. Brad Miller, Dustin Ackley, and the catcher Mike Zunino round things out for the Mariners. As mentioned, it is the 14th starting assignment of the season for Garrett Richards. He has historically been better at home. This year more so. He's been very effective here in Orange County this season.
Yeah, got a large right arm. And what I mean by that, he's going to bring it as hard as anybody. A nasty curveball as well. Again, he hasn't regained that form that he had last year before he injured himself. But that's what the Angels are hoping for, because if he does, they'll make a run into October.
A couple of teams that are separated by 3 games in the AL Western Division standings. Eric, what are the keys to the game today?
Well, pretty simple for Seattle. Cano's got to stay hot, and he's got to get some momentum. Maybe it'll filter to the rest of the offense. For the Angels, Freeze, he's got to get hot. The reason I say that, he's hitting in the middle of this lineup. There aren't a lot of guys that are able to support Pujols and Trout. He's going to have to step up.
Keys to the game sponsored by Ford. Well, the opening salvo of the series was a 3-1 score yesterday, and as we mentioned, they have historically been closely played between these two AL Western Division rivals. And yesterday's Seattle victory, no exception. Taijuan Walker outstanding yesterday for the M's, and Lloyd McClendon hoping that the offense can just get there, because really we could wear you out with some of the gruesome details about the underachieving M's lineup, the underachieving Angels lineup. At the end of the day, everybody's chasing a team that very few are convinced to have the Division I under lock and key. And that's no disrespect to the Houston Astros, but neither one of these two teams, to the point, feels like they're out of it. There's still a lot of baseball left to be played, as we are not even at the All-Star break yet. And a little delay as Garrett Richards had his glove attended to. Right, little snip, snip.
String just a little long. I think that you would distract the hitters with that.
Jim Bibby style. All right, ready for baseball. Logan Morrison set to start things out for the M's, and on the first pitch, he rips a line shot out to right. Cole Calhoun is there. And 1 pitch, 1 out for Garrett Richards today.
Well, Morrison not wasting any time, jumping right on that first pitch fastball. Richards, again, he's got the live arm. Got the very good breaking ball as well. This lineup today that Lloyd McClendon is throwing out for this Mariner ball club, 7 left-handed hitters. Would you believe 6? Would you believe 6, Matty?
I buy 6.
That's what we got.
6 left-handed hitters, and only one of them has had anything considered a track record against Garrett Richards. Here's Seth Smith now, just 2 for 10 lifetime against the Angel right-hander. Smith with an average down at 262 at game time today, and I say down to because of the work he did as a San Diego Padre last year. Then again, you could say down to for so many of the Mariner hitters, and again, not to sound like a broken record right out of the gate, because these numbers have been parroted all over baseball. But the M's rank last or next to last in virtually every significant team offensive category, and that's why the man you just saw was brought in. Edgar Martinez, the new hitting coach for Seattle.
Well, and there's some guys that have some track records where, you know, Mark Trumbo right now, since he's been with the Mariners, hitting at 167. Robinson Cano toiling around 250. You know, these are guys that, you know, don't look for the Mariners to go out and acquire somebody of any real significance. They may add a little piece here and there, but these are the guys they have offensively. They're the ones that are going to have to get them into October.
2-2 from Richards is a bouncer back up the middle. No Eric Ibar today. That's Taylor Featherston that's there, and yeah, they got it done. He had to work a little harder, and so did Albert Pujols, but they're able to combine for out number 2.
Featherston does a nice job of getting it, but this is the best part. The body control spins and makes a good throw over to Albert Pujols. You see where he's got his left foot, it's over towards home plate, so he's not going to be able to move that foot and stretch. So what he does is he just kind of falls over but keeps his foot on the bag.
2 outs, bases empty now for Robinson Cano's first plate appearance of the afternoon. He's put together a little mini hitting streak of 4 straight games with a knock and thought he checked his swing on that first pitch. They said he went around. It's 0-1. 246 for Robbie Cano. 4 home runs. The OPS at 639. On the ground to second base, Johnny Giavotella there this afternoon, and it's an all-business start to the afternoon for Garrett Richards. Go to work, making his 15th starting assignment of the year, and he faces an Angel lineup that looks like this on this Saturday. Daniel Robinson gets the nod in left field, and he will lead things off today. Cole Calhoun in right, batting number 2, and then the all-star thump of Trout, Pujols, and Freese 3 through 5. Johnny Giavotella has been a pleasant surprise for Mike Scioscia this year. He's at second base, batting 6th. Matt Joyce, Carlos Perez, and Taylor Featherston round things out for the Angels. 32-year-old southpaw Jay Happ on the mound for the Mariners today in his last assignment against the Astros on Sunday. Went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, 2 of them earned, and was tagged with his 3rd consecutive loss after a 6-2 Houston decision Sunday afternoon. His first pitch today is in for strike 1. Daniel Robertson, Cole Calhoun, and Mike Trout in the Angel half of the first. And a base hit starts things for Daniel Robertson. So that bouncing ball through the hole on the left side gives us an opportunity to correctly identify who made that nice play in the top of the inning. This was David Freese on the ball up the middle. I had said it was Featherston incorrectly. The Angels were in a shift as you take a look at what Freese did on StatCast.
Well, and you see that first step, 0.21 seconds to get to that ball. And then when Freese gets up to make a throw, he can't just flip it over there at 50. He's got a little something on it, 72 miles an hour. But that first step, so quick and so important to field the ball.
Here's Cole Calhoun now. 3 for 4 in limited previous matchups against Jay Happ. That small abbreviated line includes a home run. You know, we talk about how good Garrett Richards has been at home. That's one of the parts of the home road splits story today. The other half is Jay Happ on the road. And he too has been better at home. We'll stick to the positives. Jay has not been as good away from Safeco Field. Swinging a high deep drive out to right center. Ackley and Trumbo were looking back, and 2 at-bats into it. The Angels have a 2-0 lead. Cole Calhoun's 7th of the year.
Just a fastball up and away. Calhoun knows he got it. He's got the little bat flip right there. Watches this ball go into the center field bleachers. Now, this is a guy very versatile. And last year spent most of the time in the leadoff position. Hit 17 home runs. Drove in almost 60 runs.
Well, not only has Happ had his trouble away from Seattle, but this particular uniform has given him a hard time as well, as those numbers indicate. And here's Mike Trout now. 0-3 in his last 3 assignments against the Angels with an ERA near 10. That would just indicate too many comfortable at-bats.
Well, that's the thing. He's not going to intimidate you. As a hitter, you don't go up there fearing a pitch. Basically, he makes hitters get themselves out by being too aggressive when you're the hitter, trying to do too much. You know, he's the type of guy when you walk into the box, you're thinking, all right, I'm gonna drive something, then you roll something over to short. But if you can be patient and accept what he gives you, you can have success.
2 balls and 2 strikes, the count to the 3-time All-Star Mike Trout. Garrett Richards stake to a 2-0 lead early on this afternoon, thanks to Cole Calhoun's 7th of the year coming moments ago. You know, this is exactly the kind of start that Mike Scioscia had hoped for. He's done everything within his power to jumpstart a lineup that has, like the Mariners, underachieved this year.
You know, I'm not so sure I'd say that they've underachieved. I think the reality is they have what they have. And I know that I compare this to an Angels ball club last year that led all of baseball in runs, but they are a completely different club. They lost Josh Hamilton, Howie Kendrick. They don't have the team speed.
And a swing and a miss by Mike Trout. That's the first out of the afternoon for Jay Happ. That brings up one of the hottest hitters on the planet. Albert Pujols, 15 home runs in his last 27 games, 22 on the season. He's one shy of an Angel Club record for home runs in a month. That was 13 by Mo Vaughn in May of 2000. And would you believe the last time an Angel had 23 home runs before the All-Star break? It was in the 2000 season, Mike Scioscia's maiden voyage as manager, when Garrett Anderson, Troy Glosson, Mo Vaughn all had 23 at the break, and what seemed to be a different type of game back then. Albert sends that out to right. Mark Trumbo is there to make the play on it, and that's out number 2.
What's amazing for me, Albert Pujols, I mentioned this in the open, in a 25-game stretch, the 15 home runs, 4 strikeouts, it's never been done in baseball. That's the first time in the history of the game that a player has done that. 4 strikeouts, 15 home runs in 25 games.
2 gone now for David Freese. Yeah, it's got a lot of people around here excited. This kind of Albert renaissance, if you will. The fact that he began his career as an Angel and with such a burdensome contract, let's face it, with less than Pujols-like returns, had a lot of folks crying about diminishing returns and this isn't what we bought. Well, guess what, folks? He's putting up an all-star season. If it wasn't for Prince Fielder right now, it'd be a one-man show for comeback player of the year. And this is exactly the kind of productivity the Angels envisioned when they made him that big free agent offer a few years ago.
Well, and he talks about that he's got his legs under him. You know, he's battled through the knee injury, the foot discomfort. And as a hitter, as a power hitter, if you don't have your legs, it's not happening. And you don't need to look any further than this year over in Detroit with Victor Martinez.
Yep. Well, and it was not only the knee, but the heel injury that was underreported. I think the knee got a lot more play, but I think if you asked Albert in a private moment, he'd tell you that the heel was just as big a problem. On the appeal on Freese's check swing, they say went around, so a couple of punch outs for J-Happ. He does give up the 2-run home run early, however, and the Angels have an early 2-0 lead. Ford, we go further so you can. Cole Calhoun's home run, the early difference this afternoon so far in Anaheim. 2-0 Angels. Back with J.P. Morosi and Eric Karros, Matt Vasgersian. Nelson Cruz leads things off in the Seattle second. The Mariners DH followed by Kyle Seager and Mark Trumbo. 19 home runs for a man who will soon be a 4-time All-Star. I think it's a safe assumption to say that Nelly Cruz is headed to Cincinnati in less than a month for the Midsummer Classic.
Yeah, fantastic start, and there were a lot of questions. Would he hit in this ballpark? And he's made it look small. Now, you know, the last couple weeks, though, the power has not been there. I mean, he got off to a real quick start, 18 home runs in no time, but over the last few weeks, only one.
A ball and a strike from Garrett Richards, who retired all 3 batters he faced in the first. Cruz gives that ball a charge out to deep right center. Trout tried to make a jumping catch into the wall. Instead, Nelly Cruz wheels into second with a leadoff double. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that again, because I can't tell if Mike Trout took a strange move toward the baseball or if that one was just hit straight out of his reach.
I thought Cruz just absolutely smoked this thing. You watch Mike Trout lunge for it at the end. Just jumped a little early, I think. You know, so far early on in this game, you know, Morrison absolutely smoked the ball. Seth Smith had that ball go up the middle.
Yep.
Freese made a nice play.
And the leadoff double by Cruz. Here's Kyle Seager now. Seager's bat has been cooled of late. Just 9 for his last 49 with 1 home run. That's a .184 batting average over his last week and a half. .262 overall this year. And a chance to get one of those runs back early here in the second. Nothing in 2.
Well, and this is where the Mariners have been weak this year. You see 233 average with runners in scoring positions. That's 60 at-bats. Robinson Cano has 69 at-bats with runners in scoring position. It leads a team. He's hitting 188.
Two balls and 2 strikes to count to Kyle Seager. Well, the Mariners entered the weekend, and yes, they were able to take the opener yesterday. But they entered the weekend having lost 3 out of 4, scoring 3 runs or fewer in each of those games. By the way, they scored 3 runs yesterday. It happened to be good enough for a win because Taijuan Walker was that good in limiting the Angels. And a swing and a miss by Seager as Perez finishes with the throw down to first, and there's 1 away. It wasn't just this year. You know, recently the M's have spent a lot of money to add to the offense. Robinson Cano, of course, added 2 seasons ago. And then he needed a little help. He wanted a friend and a fellow mate, and he wanted a guy from the right side of the plate that was going to protect him. So Nelson Cruz was brought in as a free agent, having recently finished up in Baltimore with a huge campaign last year. What it's led to are these numbers, and it's just shocking when you consider the backs of the baseball cards and what this group had done in the past. Put them together at Safeco Field, and it has not been the same story.
Well, I think you just mentioned it. You put them in Safeco Field. I mean, you look at the Mariners team batting average. If you want to get specific, the right-handed batter since 2010. You know, compared to the rest of the major leagues, last in 2010, last in 2011, last in 2012, last in 2013. Oh, they're 29th in 2014, but last again this year. So the point is, it's not a good place to hit. Everybody knows that. But then that starts to mess with you mentally.
Trumbo pushes that one foul down in the corner and right.
You know, I heard Paul Molitor was talking about hitting, and you can, you know, the manager of the Twins, Hall of Famer, and he said you can do all the things, all the drills, all those things you want, but once you get in the box, it's really between the ears where it becomes mental. And so when you're hitting in a ballpark like Safeco, again, it's not conducive. You lose a lot of hits, and I understand that they brought in the fences, but it's still not a fun or a good place to hit. It wears on you mentally.
0-2 the count to Trumbo. You know, it's curious, though, because certain players have shown signs of maybe breaking out of that and proving that, you know, maybe you can hit at Safeco Field. I mean, after all, this isn't the middle 2000s with, you know, the Beltre and Sexton free agent class that went up there and struggled. It's just been so hard to figure how a group of hitters this good can have that kind of collective trouble. Not just at home, by the way. It's been everywhere.
But what happens, though, is, again, you struggle at home, and mentally, oh, man, you go on the road, you're walking up to the plate, and that scoreboard says 232, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs. You're going, man, I am. You start believing that sort of stuff.
Trumbo chases, and there are 2 away. Or check that. Yeah, there are 2 away here in the second. JP Morosi with us as always on these Saturdays. And JP, the Mariners' struggles have been well documented, not limited to Safeco Field, but they seem to be most exacerbated at home.
No question, Matt. The Mariners have scored the fewest runs in the American League this season. And of course, this time of year, the conversation turns to, well, could they just make a trade ahead of the July 31st trade deadline? But the reality is, as you guys were talking, they've already traded for Trumbo this year, Austin Jackson last year, Seth Smith during the offseason. They've already remade this outfield, Matt, but with very disappointing results.
2 gone with that runner still at second here for Brad Miller. And, you know, I don't know, and JP, I'd keep you involved in this as well, EK. What else can Jack Zarinsek in the front office do? They have addressed weaknesses. They've spent the money. They've gone out and scoured the bushes, if you will, to find guys who were available like Mark Trumbo to try to make back a deficiency somewhere. I'm not sure from a baseball operations standpoint what the next move is, other than hoping that the players that you've put in place can produce.
Well, Matt, one place that they certainly could upgrade offensively is behind the plate, but they love what Mike Zunino does for them in terms of handling the pitching staff. So that's one spot where, yes, you would like to have more offense there, but they love Zunino's defense so much, and his offensive production from a standpoint of home runs, Matt, has really gone down this year.
Yeah, you know, that's great, though, if you're getting some offensive production elsewhere. But to carry somebody like that behind the plate right now with what Zunino is doing, it's tough. I mean, I understand he's a young player, and I understand that you got to give him time. I completely respect that.
The 0-2 to Brad Miller.
But you've almost got to find players that are, I don't want to say grinder types, but that just will continue to go out, and are mentally tough. I mean, you know, I keep saying this. One of the things playing in Colorado does is it makes you believe that you're a good hitter. You start walking around, because that's a great place to hit. You start believing you're that good, and that's most of the battle.
About Garrett Richards, meanwhile, leadoff double and then strikes out Seager, Trumbo, and Miller. No damage in the top of the second. Switch to the Data Strong Network, and by Lowe's. Lowe's never stop improving. Bottom of the second with the Angels on top early this afternoon. 2-0 Los Angeles, and they'll send Johnny Giavotella, Matt Joyce, and Carlos Perez to the plate against the left-hander Jay Happ. Giavotella takes a strike. Man who's earned the nickname Johnny Drama around here, not in deference to the HBO series character, but by virtue of his flair for the dramatic. The numbers might not pop off the screen for Johnny Giavotella, but he's one of those guys for whom you can't just do a sabermetrics workup to measure his value. He's come up with some big hits. 9 go-ahead RBI and 7 game-winning runs batted in. He's on that team leader list with Mike Trout, though you would rarely categorize them in the same place.
Well, he's been a nice addition to this ball club. Is he going to fill the shoes of Howie Kendrick, a former second baseman? Absolutely not, but he is going to battle you.
On the ground, sharply hit to shortstop. Brad Miller's got it, and there's one away. Among the other action in baseball today, the third of 4 between the Yankees and Astros. Kevin Burkhardt has an update in our Los Angeles studios. Hi, Kevin. Thanks. The Astros, as we talk about Houston now, with Matt Joyce digging in and one away, and there have been those that have been critical of the way the Astros have put their success together this year. 43-13. They think that the vulnerability there, Eric, is that it's a feast or famine type lineup. They've got a chance to become the first team in over 100 years to lead baseball in strikeouts and home runs. And when they don't hit a home run, as has been the case the last couple of days against the Yankees, they have a hard time winning.
I think it's been a great start, and it's been a great story up to this point. Whether they can sustain it over 162 games, I haven't bought into that yet. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. But they have, I guess if you talk around the rest of the league, people respect what they've done, but they're not intimidated by it. They're not, oh, well, they can't be beat sort of thing. So this division is still wide open. And either one of these ball clubs, you wouldn't know it by looking at the standings, but have as good a chance as any to win in the American League West.
Here's the catcher, Carlos Perez now. Quick 3-pitch strikeout issued to Matt Joyce. Perez at 255, a couple of home runs. Making just his 32nd career start this afternoon. He takes a strike. Happ nibbling, and it's 2 balls and a strike now. Well, Chris Iannetta getting a day today. He has been the source of a lot of conversation in terms of offensive struggles around the Angels. Little punch pop up out to short right. Cano tracks it down. They go away 1-2-3 in the second. Baseball Night in America returns after a word from your local Fox station. July 6th with the 2015 Esurance All-Star Selection Show and the 2015 Gillette Home Run Derby presented by Head & Shoulders on July 13th on ESPN. And don't miss the game itself, Tuesday, July 14th, only on Fox. Garrett Richards back to work in the third with his 2-0 lead in tow. Dustin Ackley, Mike Zunino, and Logan Morrison for Seattle. And Ackley takes a strike, 1-1. In the second, Richards gave up that leadoff double to Nelly Cruz. and then promptly struck out Seager, Trumbo, and Miller to extinguish any thoughts of a run scoring rally. There's a chopper for Freese, and one away in the third. Garrett Richards, without a doubt, coming all the way back from a horrible injury last year, August 20th in Boston, a torn left patellar tendon, one that had so many ramifications for the Angels down the stretch. As we bring J.P. Morosi back on this one, you know, the velocity was back for Garrett Richards early. The command came a little later, and everybody is convinced that he is 100% returned from that terrible night in Boston.
Yeah, Matt, and it's important to note, you go back to last season. At the time he was injured, Garrett Richards had become the Angels' ace. He was at that time a legitimate AL Cy Young Award candidate. And as we search for reasons why the Angels, who had, of course, the most wins in baseball last year, why they were swept out of the first round by the Royals, it was really his absence.
Into the shortstop hole, a great play by Featherston to get Zunino with the bag. There's two away. Well, we talk about the fastball velocity coming back, and according to Fangraphs.com, among starters this year, there are only a handful throwing their fastball harder on average than Garrett Richards. And velocity's nice, but I think the more important numbers for Richards are opponents' batting and slugging percentages, which are among the lowest in all of baseball. Back to the top of the order now with two away, Logan Morrison.
And you talk about the fastball velocity, but it is the ability to miss the barrel of the bat. Besides the fastball velocity, he has got one of the most wicked breaking balls. And we've seen guys swing at pitches in the dirt already today and strike out. I mean, just look at that, you know, that swing right there. It's just, you can tell by the types of swings the hitters take, you know, what that guy out on the mound has. Like I said, guys are going out of the zone. It's like, I'm going to swing. Oh, no, I didn't mean to swing. It just, he is not a comfortable at bat at all. I mean, you're getting in there and you are grinding from the minute you put those 2 feet in the batter's box. I mean, seriously, look at that. That ball's bouncing. I've seen 4 of those today where the ball bounces before it gets to home plate, and big league guys are swinging.
Yeah, he's getting swings off of those.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, this is no bueno if you're a hitter right now.
Ball and 2 strikes to Logan Morrison. On a convenient hop for Giavotella, another 1-2-3 inning for Richards. Through 2.5, still 2-0 Angels. Top of the order, Featherston, Robertson, and Calhoun for Los Angeles against J. Happ. The 2-run home run by Cole Calhoun, the difference so far this afternoon as J. Happ goes back to work. Taylor Featherston playing in his 43rd career big league game today. And a player with a very modest background who has earned his way to the big leagues, and a guy that local fans have found easy to root for here. I'm not sure how this ball ended up under Mike Zunino's mask, but it did.
Yeah, look at that.
Be back there for 2 years and not 3 years and not have that happen again. All right, 4, 5. There's a strike on the corner, and it's a ball and 2 strikes to the Angels' number 9 hitter. Talking about Featherston's background. Took a baseball scholarship to TCU as he swings and misses there. He was picked in the Rule 5 draft out of the Rockies organization by the Cubs, then was sold to the Angels before making his major league debut this season. 4 strikeouts for J. Happ so far, 1 gone here in the 3rd. Back to the top of the order now, Daniel Robertson. You know, players like Taylor Featherston, Daniel Robertson, lesser ballyhooed players, certainly good enough to be here, seem to be important players in the Angels scheme of things the last few years. And part of that is because there has been so much payroll committed to a handful of players that the teams really had to get creative and try to find those diamonds in the rough that won't cost as much.
Well, again, they did make some financial commitments, whether it's guys currently here, Albert Pujols, or guys that are no longer with the ball club, Josh Hamilton, that have limited their ability in how to supplement the rest of the ball club. You know, the good is, as a young player or a fringe player, you're going to get an opportunity in an organization like this. You know, Giovitella, a great example this year with the second base position.
A strike to Robertson.
But on the flip side, you can run into situations like the Angels have done this year where they just aren't getting a lot of offense. They're getting them from the known quantities, but the rest of the guys just, you know, they haven't been able to do anything on a consistent basis. It's really been Trout and Pujols.
A high fly ball out to left. Playable for Seth Smith. Cole Calhoun was one of those players last year before establishing his star. He has homered today. Let's take a look back on it via StatCast, our new player metrics being used to measure Major League Baseball's StatCast tracking system.
Well, I know it wasn't coming in at 100, but it sure went out quick. Hang time of 1.7 seconds, and then you look at the distance, over 400-foot home runs. But more than anything, made the Angels feel pretty good about themselves. Give Garrett Richards a lead early in the ballgame.
Might be a little something here too. 2 home runs in just 5 plate appearances against J. Happ, and in a matchup lefty-lefty that you would not think would traditionally favor the hitter. Calhoun, for his part, has been undeterred versus left-handed hitting. And I guess you could say the same thing against Happ in a weird way. There have been some left-handed matchups that have given him surprising problems.
Well, he doesn't have that real nasty breaking ball to get left-handers out. It's more of an off-speed changeup, which really to a lefty, it's nullified.
He works quickly in the 3rd, getting the Angels in order. 9 in a row retired since the Calhoun home run. Reminder, watch every out-of-market game live in HD on more than 400 devices with MLB.tv Premium, the #1 streaming sports service. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Every night on every device. Visit MLB.tv for details. Garrett Richards back to work in the 4th. Seth Smith, Robinson Cano, and Nelson Cruz for Seattle. If each of these two teams by themselves have posted smaller run outputs, when they get together, and it's something Lloyd McClendon and Mike Scioscia are certainly aware of, they are for the most part closely played and low scoring. I think last night's 3-1 game indicative of how these two teams have matched up over the past couple of years. Speaking of Mike Scioscia, John Paul Morosi caught up with him between innings.
Cole Calhoun with the big home run today. Mike, what do you like about how he sets up your lineup there from the #2 spot right now?
Well, he's definitely a guy in front of Mike that you can see can drive the ball, and that I think is going to play out over the course of time. Right now he's been a little bit soft, but Cole's getting back on track. He's important to us, and it's a big hit in the first inning for us.
We talked earlier in the broadcast about how Richards has really come back this season. How close is he, if he's not there already, to the guy that he was there midway through last season?
Oh, he's close. I think the velocity is pretty much where we would expect it. He's been spinning the ball great this year. His stamina has been where you would expect it. So as far as we're concerned, he's over it, but it's the type thing that even next year he might even get a little stronger. So we kept our fingers crossed that he's healthy, and he is.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and there are little numbers that we could give you that kind of back up what Mike said today. There's a ground ball for Giavotella. How about this one, Eric? In Richards' last start, and he went 6 innings at Oakland on Sunday, he had a total of 7 swings and misses. Today, through just 3 innings, 6 swings and misses.
Again, you've got to, as a hitter, you go up there, you've got to be respectful of that 95, 96 mile an hour fastball. Today he's getting it up 97, 98. But then he's got that nasty breaking ball as well.
Here's Nelson Cruz, his double in the 2nd. It came to lead off the inning. The only hit, the only base runner against Richards in 3 2/3 today. Joe Girardi called Garrett Richards' movement the most inconsistent movement in baseball. And he didn't mean that as a detraction. He meant that as a compliment.
Well, and that's the thing. It's one thing to have movement, and obviously every pitcher wants to get some sort of movement on his pitches. But if it's the same thing all the time, the hitter can get a feel for it, can look for it. But with Richards, you know, sometimes that fastball run in on you as a right-hand hitter. It'll cut away sometimes. And that's where you talk about the inconsistency.
2-1 to Cruz. Little dribbler up the third base way. Freeze has plenty of time. It's another 1-2-3 inning for Garrett Richards. Mike Trout leads off the home half of the 4th with the Angels on top 2-0. Trout, Pujols, and Freese against Jay Happ. Angels on top 2-0 after the Cole Calhoun home run in the first. There has been precious little offense by either lineup. First offering to Trout is in for a strike. Home run number 19 came yesterday in the loss. A couple of pertinent numbers there. 19 home runs, second highest total in the American League behind only teammate Albert Pujols. And the bad news to it is that it was the 9th time that Trout had homered in an Angel loss. There's a 1-1 to him from Happ, and that's in for a strike. Only Giancarlo Stanton, who recently took some really bad injury news, has homered more in losses for his team. Trout pops it up. On the right side of the infield is Morrison behind the cutout for route number 1.
Well, you saw there Happ going and Trout with all high fastballs. Started him in and then was able to put him away. And you know, that's the cliche part of the trendy place. That's where we're going to get Mike Trout out. High fastballs. Right there, he did a very nice job of doing it. Everything up.
So from second in the American League in home runs to the junior circuit leader Albert Pujols with 23. And the first offering to him is in for a strike. You know, not that it's a two-man band, because no team is or can be. But if you take Pujols and Trout out of the equation, there is quite a bit less pop for the Angels. And I'm trying to be diplomatic here. A slicing pop into shallow right. Trumbo's on the move, setting up to make a catch for route number 2. Since the end of May, Trout and Pujols have combined for 23 home runs and a .321 batting average. The rest of the club, less than half as many home runs and a batting average just that just won't really grab your attention.
No, those two, there's no question about it. They've carried everything. But again, you look at this ball club, and are you being realistic if you expect, you know, guys, whether it's David Freese or whether it's Cole Calhoun or Eric Ibar, or you know, what do you realistically expect? You're asking guys that should be hitting 7th or 2nd, or, you know, to protect those two, to hit behind them, and that's not what they are. Again, Howie Kendrick, the longtime Angel second baseman, what he did for this ball club, hitting in the middle of the lineup, RBI situations, and that hasn't been replaced. And I'm not sure there's anybody on that team that can replace it.
Yeah, there were a lot of folks around here that thought the Angels were a better team when Howie Kendrick hit 4th in the absence of Josh Hamilton. With his kind of spotty attendance record as an Angel, they made that move last year. That's when the Angels took off, and when they went on a nice run and ended up with one of the best overall campaigns in franchise history, they ran into a Royals buzzsaw like everybody else last year in October. But it shouldn't diminish how good a team this was in 2014. Freese well hits a right. Trumbo running out of room, and that one's off the wall. Freese is going to try for third, and he'll get there without a play. No, they got him! Oh my goodness! That looked like David Freese had third base uncontested. And Mike Scioscia's waiting for evidence to the contrary to try to challenge, but that ball is right there to get him at the bag. Brilliant execution by the Mariners defensively, and they nailed David Freese trying for something a little bit extra.
Yeah, David Freese getting a little excited. Don't want to make that third out at third base, but apparently he did.
No contest, no challenge, and no runner at third. Still 2-0 Angels. Kyle Seager, Mark Trumbo, and Brad Miller lead things off in the visitors' half of the fifth. Still a 2-0 game. An exciting, albeit unusual way to end that bottom of the fourth. Final out at third base. A ball off the wall that Mark Trumbo had a hard time with. Throw missed the cutoff man. And Freese was still thrown out. And there's a ball whacked back into center field. A leadoff base hit. Let's take another look at how that bottom of the fourth came to a close.
But you see Trumbo going back and thinks he's got a beat on it, but just gets back past the outstretched glove. Now he misses the cutoff man right here. And that's where I think you make the call, Matty, right there, that he'll go easily into third. If I don't see that thing played Monday morning on your morning show on MLB Network with the call live, that better be run about 50 times.
Yeah, I'm sure they're already putting it on my voicemail. Box that big time.
Yes.
Oh, well, it happens.
He did. He missed it, but he missed the cutoff man. You know, he missed the first cutoff man, I should say.
You see Trumbo kind of flail at it and right, miss the first cutoff man, and I don't think there's a chance at a play at third base, but the Mariners execute really well, and credit Miller for being right up there to cut the missed cut, if you will.
And the reality, too, was not good base running. You don't want to make that third out at third base, especially when you have struggled as much offensively as this Angel Ball Club has.
Mark Trumbo struck out back in the second, and that came after Cruz doubled to lead off the inning. Seager, Trumbo, and Miller all striking out as Richards bailed himself out of trouble. In your big league career, how many times did you bat against guys you had kind of shared a lot of clubhouse time with? How many opportunities did you have to face ex-mates?
Well, you know, when I was with the Dodgers, I was traded away, and when I came back and played against the Dodgers, I never liked hitting against guys that I had played with for a while. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it was I just couldn't muster up the adrenaline or the intensity, but it just kind of seemed like it was just kind of especially the guys that had nasty stuff. You know, whether it was a Kevin Brown or you watch a quick pick here by Carlos Perez. Albert does a nice job too. As a right-handed first baseman, you're going to have your back to the plate and you just swipe down to the edge of the bag, and if that runner hits your hand, so be it. But it's very difficult to try to turn and look.
Richards just missed the corner there. Apparently 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, this is a guy though that once he gets settled in, I think he's the right fit for Seattle. You know, he is a grinder. He provides power.
That one bounces away from Perez, and Seager will get on to second base without a throw.
Well, this is that breaking ball in the dirt that many of these Mariner hitters have offered at. Nice job there, but staying off of that.
It scored a wild pitch, so it'll be the second inning in which the Mariners have their leadoff hitter in scoring position with nobody out. Again, they were turned away on 3 straight strikeouts in the second. Payoff pitch to Mark Trumbo on its way with a runner at second and nobody out here, and he got him again. 1 away with a runner at second, and between innings, John Palmarosi had a chance to visit with them's manager Lloyd McClendon.
Lloyd, quite a relay there by your team in right field with Trumbo to Miller. What did you see on that play?
Well, I mean, we made a good relay there, and a good throw and a good tag, and we were very fortunate there.
Lloyd, obviously 4 pitches into the ballgame, you guys are down 2-0. Happ settles in there, retires 11 in a row. What adjustment did you see him make there?
Well, I mean, he elevated a pitch he shouldn't have elevated to a good up fastball hitter, and he took advantage of it.
Last one for you, Lloyd. You talk about Garrett Richards, and Eric Harris made the point today. He's one of the most uncomfortable.
Well, we're going to abbreviate JP's conversation with Lloyd McClendon because Brad Miller lies to David Freese, and he tagged out Kyle Seager for an inning-ending double play. Still 2-0 Angels. New Rhodes still sitting on the 2-0 lead courtesy of the Cole Calhoun home run in the first. Bottom of the 5th, and Johnny Giavotella, Matt Joyce, and Carlos Perez will try their chances with Jay Happ. Two runs on 3 hits for the Angels, no runs on just 2 hits for the Mariners today. And the few opportunities the Mariners have had, Both ended in rather frustrating fashion. Leadoff double stranded, and a leadoff single and wild pitch. Had a runner at second and nobody out. Richards got out of that 5th inning jam with a strikeout and a line drive double play ball.
Basically been the story of this Mariner offense in a nutshell today. It's
well, chopper to third for Seager, and Giovatella's retired, 1 away. Extraordinary moments happen every night in baseball, but on one night they all happen in one place. Don't miss the 86th All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Tuesday, July 14th on Fox.
You know, that man will be there, Mike Trout.
I think that guy's going to book a Midsummer Classic trip for the next decade of his life.
You just put that on the schedule, right? You know, he's not getting those 3 or 4 days off.
It will be his 4th straight. I think Albert Pujols is going back to the All-Star game after an absence of a few years.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 4 years he hasn't been there, which is really surprising. 9 of the first 10 seasons in St. Louis he was at the All-Star game.
It's a tough year for first baseman in the American League, though, by virtue of so many strong candidates. I mean, it really is. It's a golden era at that position in the junior circuit. Mark Teixeira has been great this year. Prince Fielder, both comeback players of the year. Eric Hosmer's been terrific in Kansas City.
That guy Miguel Cabrera, he's doing all right.
Heard of him? Yeah. You want to reach a little farther, but not that far. Edwin Encarnacion, swing and a miss by Matt Joyce. Bauer, Moss.
Watch his breaking ball out of the zone. Gets Joyce for the 2nd time. Yeah, Happ's only really made 1 bad pitch, and that was to Calhoun. That's how, again, you try to tell people about this game, and when you're coaching youth kids or anybody, every single pitch matters. You can't take one off.
Here's Carlos Perez now.
And again, for Happ tonight, he's throwing a great ball game. One pitch got away from him or didn't get it in the spot he wanted, and he's down 2-0.
Little flare out to shallow right. Trumbo is there to make the catch, and it's a very quick 1-2-3 5th for Jay Happ. We played 5 complete this afternoon in Anaheim. It's still 2-0 Angels. brothers. 100 years later, their spirit lives on. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Still 2-0 Angels as Dustin Ackley leads things off in the Seattle 6th. It'll be Ackley, Zunino, and Morrison against Garrett Richards. Well, Garrett Richards has been tough to solve so far this afternoon, scattering the 2 hits. He has struck out 4. Already better returns in almost the same number of innings as he posted against Oakland on Sunday. Reminder that Baseball on Fox is brought to you by Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball.
Well, also been impressive that Richards has yet to give up a base on balls. And that doesn't mean that he's been throwing pitches over the plate. He's been able to induce these Mariner hitters to go out of the zone, swing at pitches that have bounced in the dirt. Again.
And Ackley couldn't hold up. 5 strikeouts for Garrett Richards this afternoon. You bring up an important point with him as Mike Zunino digs in now, because when Garrett Richards first got to the big leagues, the movement was such that it wasn't controllable for him. Between 2011 and 2012, his first couple of years in the big leagues, in 85 innings, he averaged almost 4.5 walks per 9 innings. And that's when, as the story goes around here, he came under the influence of Mike Butcher and was able to refine his mechanics, leading to better control and turn him into the pitcher that he is now.
Well, and remember, he was coming out of the pen, originally, and it was just come in and just throw as hard as you can. And
there's a base hit for Zunino. Just the 3rd of the afternoon for Seattle.
When we're talking about the ability to make the Mariner hitters go out of the zone, bounce in the dirt, bounce in the dirt. There you get a fastball there, and then look at that breaking ball. That was a 3-2 pitch right there. Again, we're back in the dirt. And that's what pitching is. You want to make the hitter think that strikes are balls and balls are strikes. And those guys that are offering at those pitches in the dirt, I mean, they think that that pitch is going to be a strike. Boom, out of the zone.
1 out, 1 on now for Logan Morrison, who's 0 for 2, though he's hit the ball hard today. Started the ball game, picked on the first pitch from Richards and hit a line shot out to right. It made sure Cole Calhoun was awake at roughly 4:10 Pacific Standard Time. To Morrison is hit through the hole on the right side this time. Zunino cuts the corner at second. He'll try for third. Wait for it, and get in front of the throw. So runners at the corners now with 1 gone, and the first time that the Mariners have had multiple base runners aboard against Garrett Richards today.
Well, another opportunity with runners in scoring position here. We have a visit to the mound right now.
Back-to-back 1-out singles, and Mike Butcher makes his first appearance onto the field today. Seth Smith, the scheduled batter for Seattle, he's 0 for 2 so far today.
Again, I think Butcher just heads out there, wants to calm Richards down a bit, wants to make sure he's aware of where the infield is going to be played. They're shifting right now. Who's got second base on a comebacker? You take a look, you see David Freese, the only one on the left side, and he's got to stay relatively close to the runner at third base. You just don't want him taking some ridiculous lead. So that whole left side wide open.
A major league worst 205 batting average with runners in scoring position, and further frustrations today. That one bounces away from Perez, and here's the first Seattle run of the afternoon. Second wild pitch by Richards today, and that was a costly one.
Well, not much Perez can do with this. This is a breaking ball. He just throws it right into the dirt, shoots away. Now remember, those things are spinning, so when it hits the ground, it usually shoots opposite the way the ball is spinning. Gets away from Perez, and Zunino easily comes in to score.
So a chance now for Seth Smith to tie it with a base hit here. 2 balls and no strikes.
See, defensively, he's still in the same position. There's Zunino. Scored. Take a look at where they are. Featherston, right behind second base, can keep the runner close.
And it's 3 balls and no strikes now. This is a rare count in which Richards has been behind. He's worked quickly and from in front for the better part of the afternoon. Robinson Cano waiting next, and Nelly Cruz behind him. So the worrisome part of the order with an opportunity here for Seattle. 3-1.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Richards throw a breaking ball right here. 3-1. Smith has good power. He's sitting on a fastball. And he gets a fastball. Although it was 97.
Full count now. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Lloyd McClendon, when we visited with him today, talked about how even a pitcher like Garrett Richards with the big stuff, when he gets into trouble, he's going to go to his bread and butter. We don't have to guess. Back to another fastball. That one chopped to third. Great layout play by David Freese. Saves a run for the time being.
Freese lays out. You saw him earlier when he was shifted over to the shortstop position, make a nice play earlier on Smith. This time, though, just does everything he can to keep it in the infield. Knows he's not going to record out, but he does prevent a run from scoring.
So runners at the corners once again. 3 straight singles by the Mariners, and now a big opportunity for Robinson Cano, trying to extend a modest 4-game hitting streak this afternoon. 0 for 2, a couple of ground balls to second base today. Another one of those here, and Richards gets out of the inning. On the ground to second base. Giavotella to Featherston, back to Pujols. The double play indeed. Only 1 in the Seattle 6th. It's a 2-1 ball game. 3 ground balls to second base, and the last one of the 3 led to an inning-ending double play and a rally killer that kept it at 2-1. Seattle gets their first run of the ball game on a wild pitch in the top of the inning. Bottom of the 6th, and Taylor Featherston leads it off for the Angels. You know, if Robinson Cano is on the verge of turning the corner, as Lloyd McClendon optimistically indicated to us before the game, today's would be seen as a minor setback. The results were getting better. He had been 12 for his last 29 at the start of play, better than 300 his last week and a half. Extra base hits were starting to come. But today's symptomatic of what the whole season has been for Cano.
Well, and really the offense is built around Robinson Cano. I mean, it's stating the obvious, and to say that he looks like he's coming out, I got to see something for 3 or 4 weeks. You know, I know that you're looking for anything that may be positive, but
Chopper to third, and Seager takes care of Featherston. Time to take a look at the Geico in-game box score for the Angels. And the hits distributed between Robertson, Calhoun, and Freese. A couple of runs on just 3 hits for Los Angeles so far.
Well, Hap's thrown a great ball game. You know, it's not like balls have been hit hard, or after the Calhoun, there's been nothing. It's not like guys are lining out or balls are going to the wall, or you know, you had the David Freese hope to be a triple with 2 outs, but he's really settled down and kept this Angel ball club off balance.
0-1 the count to Daniel Robertson. Ball in the dirt makes it a ball and a strike. That's what Hap has done so far. Again, the 2 runs coming on the Calhoun home run in the first, as folks were still settling into their seats. He's been really good since. But, you know, getting back to this idea of looking for something to hang your hat on, some little sign of optimism for both sides offensively. If you're the Angels, even if you're the Mariners, a little farther back in the pack, a team can get off to a shaky offensive start and still win an American League pennant. And the example comes as recently as last year's AL champion Kansas City Royals, who at this point in the season had hit 42 home runs. They were on a pace for only a double-digit home run output last year. This was around when Kansas City got going, if you'll recall.
Well, you know, if you're going to hang your hat on something like this and hope that you could mimic something that the Royals did, I think the Mariners are more similar in that they've got guys that are athletic, that have had some success.
Robertson flies out to left for out number 2.
And you can hope that those guys are going to get things going, whether it's Cano, whether it's Trumbo, whether it's Zunino, whether it's Jackson and center. But if you're looking at the Angel Ball Club, it's not like there's a real record history. I mean, it's not like Joyce has had great years, or Giavotella, or you know, that's the difference.
But would you have said that about that Kansas City group last year?
See, you're talking to the wrong guy, because I had the Royals 5 times, and I'll tell this story over and over. Last year, every time I went in to talk to Ned Yost, I'm telling you, they could be under 500. They could be playing poorly. EK, I'm telling you, these guys, they're good. And they're going to be there at the end of the year. They're going, and I go in, a lot of that time, you think it's lip service. But then I started buying into it, and I'll be darned, they're there at the end of the year. And it's the same. You know, Ned Yost, I'll tell you what, he was selling, and eventually I was buying, and then everybody else had to buy by the end of the year.
0-1 the count to Cole Calhoun.
I mean, I'd say that, you know, get back on the Royals. I've had those guys 4 times this year. I've seen them. They are an exciting ball club. They don't have the star power as far as you're going to watch 1 or 2 individuals, but they are as exciting a team to watch as there is in baseball.
I would agree. I think Kansas City can be measured as an elite team in baseball right now. And there may be a a move coming in the offing before the trade deadline. Some people seem to think they're a starter away from being as good as they were last year. A ball and 2 strikes on Cole Calhoun. And in fact, if you're going to watch the All-Star game, it's like you're watching a Royals game on Fox Sports Kansas City.
Royals versus the National League.
Great goodness. Take Trout and Cabrera out of there, and it's the 2015 Royals, including Omar Infante, not Jason Kipnis or Brian Dozier. That means get out and vote, folks. Vote for your 2015 All-Stars on the Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot. You can vote at MLB.com/vote. Catch all the excitement of the 86th annual Midsummer Classic, July 14th on Fox. 2-2 to Calhoun is taken for a called strike 3. J-Happ continues his stingy ways as we return you to Anaheim after a word from your local Fox station. The Women's World Cup semifinals begin as Alex Morgan and Team USA take on Germany with a trip to the final on the line. Coverage begins Tuesday at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, only on your local Fox station and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. We've got a delay before the start of the inning, and it looked like the Angels were ready to go. Garrett Richards was ready to go. And now medical attention is being paid to Robinson Cano.
You got to wonder if possibly during infield when they're throwing the ball around, because you wouldn't stop the game if somebody was being attended to. The ball had to go over Pujols' head is my guess.
Yeah, I think we have on tape what happened here. This is between innings. You can see the ball just cleared Albert Pujols, and Robinson Cano is on the railing and took it right in the face. My goodness. Robinson Cano just cannot catch a break today. We certainly keep our eyes on the Mariners dugout. See Albert Pujols' reaction? That ball flew over his head and he turned around, and as soon as he saw somebody get hit, Wow. So play continues as we begin the top of the 7th. And Nelson Cruz chops a ground ball to third for the first out of the inning. Now, the good news is that Robinson Cano is able to walk around under his own power, but it looks like he might be done for the day.
Yeah, it's going to sound crazy, but even, you know, in these youth baseball tournaments, they always tell you, get in the dugout, shut the gate when the guys are taking infield. And you're like, oh, come on. That, you know what, somebody can get hit with the ball?
Yeah.
And you even see it here at the big league level. You see it at the big league level.
Oh, my. He's got a knot on his head there.
Well,
I don't think he ever saw it. I don't think he ever saw it coming.
No, look at that thing. That's no man. So then, you know, you've got to get into the whole concussion issue.
Right.
I mean, that's crazy. That's unreal that just happened.
Kyle Seager now with one away. Well, Major League Baseball has certainly paid proper attention to concussion protocol these last number of years. With the increased science that's out there, what we know about concussion syndrome now, things that we didn't know 20 years ago. And Major League Baseball takes it very seriously, as I'm sure the Mariners medical staff will. A ball and a strike to Kyle Seager after a very freakish accident between innings here. Into the opposite field for Robertson. And there are 2 away. I'm just thinking out loud here, and I'm sure there has been, but when I see an Angel wearing 44, I think of Reggie Jackson in The Naked Gun. I must kill the queen. I must kill the queen.
I think of Leslie Nielsen behind home plate doing the umpire walk.
But there's been a 44 as an Angel since Reggie wore it decades ago. There has to have been.
What was Brian Downey? Did he play with Reggie?
He would have been before Reggie. They might have been here at the same time for a while, but he was certainly here before Reggie.
Yep.
We'll have our Angels historians on that. 2 gone for Mark Trumbo, who I don't believe wore 44 here.
Nobody did lead this Angels ball club 3 years in home runs. No park can hold this man. Again, though, just has not been able to get on track. And, you know, there's something to be said. You get traded in the middle of the season. You got to uproot everything. You got to go move.
Well, we thought when Mark Trumbo was here, being a local product and all, that he was going to be here entrenched in the middle of the lineup for years to come. Traded to the desert, and then we thought, wow, what a great fit. Mark Trumbo in that ballpark, pencil him in for 40 home runs annually. We thought he'd be there for years to come. Then traded to Seattle a few weeks ago. And as I've always said when I saw your former teammate Orel Hershiser pitching as a Giant, never say never.
No.
Anybody can play anywhere. Trumbo takes ball 4. He's aboard with 2 gone. Our Budweiser game summary. Cole Calhoun's 2-run home run in the first has held up as we're here in the 7th. Jay Happ, after the home run, has really pitched well. Seattle's had some opportunities that they have been unable to cash in on. And by the way, as Trumbo reaches first base, this from our Angels historian department, if we have such a thing, he did wear 44 here. Here's Brad Miller now. So did Ian Stewart. So did John Buck. So did Red Sox hitting coach Chili Davis.
Chili Dog. Yeah. That guy could hit. Man.
Richards still working with a very reasonable pitch count. As his 77th of the game, misses high to Millard, and it's 1-1. But really efficient in the 3rd through the 5th. Total of 27 pitches over those 3 innings, and that one's lined into left center field. Trumbo to third, and once again Seattle has runners at the corners.
Well, Trumbo doing a little of his old style angel base running, going first to third. Had that play in front of him. And this is where, as a youngster, if you're watching, he doesn't need to pick up the third base coach because he sees the play in front of him. That ball's behind him to right field. That's where you pick up your third base coach for help. But you can make that decision on your own. And he knows that he's not going to make the third out at third, goes in easily. Nice play by Mike Trout, though, not to get suckered into trying to throw to third and get Mike Trumbo, because if he does that, guess where that runner Miller goes? On to second.
Big opportunity here for Seattle now with Dustin Ackley, who's hitless 0 for 2 so far today. Runners at the corners with 2 gone. The Mariners are without a hit today with runners in scoring position. They've had a handful of opportunities. And better stated, they do have a hit with runners in scoring position. However, a run did not score on it. A run came on in the wild pitch. Trumbo at third, Miller at first with 2 gone for Dustin Ackley. Nothing in 2.
Well, you start with a breaking ball and then a fastball inside off the plate. 0 and 2 means a hitter right now, you just spread those feet, get low, and just try and get the bat on the ball somehow. Mike Scioscia having Carlos Perez get out there, let them know the defense they want in case Miller decides to steal. If you're Lloyd McClennan, why not?
Nothing in 2 to Dustin Ackley. 2 out runners at the corners in a 1-run ball game. A breaking ball misses the corner. That's not a bad place to try to see if Ackley will expand his, like so many of his teammates, numbers with runners in scoring position, leaving something to be desired.
You can just come inside hard with a fastball off the plate a bit.
The 1-2. Tried to check his swing, but went around. Another opportunity goes by the wayside for Seattle. Still a 2-1 Angels lead. Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge. And by Bud Light. Stay in the game and drink responsibly. Mike Trout leads things off in the Angels half of the 7th, looking for a little breathing room here in a one-run ball game. It'll be the middle of the Angels order. Trout, Pujols, and Freese against J. Happ in the 7th inning. There is a new second baseman out there for the Mariners as Willie Bloomquist has taken over for Robinson Cano, who again, between innings last inning, was hit with an errant infield throw. And if we get word from the Seattle trainers table, we'll certainly report on his status if we get word. A ball and a strike to count to Mike Trout, who's 0 for 2 so far today. You know what's amazing about these young players, and we have this conversation a lot when Mike Trout or Bryce Harper is on the field. There is one seemingly younger than the next who arrives on the major league landscape. Jock Peterson with the crosstown rival Dodgers has made a huge impact, likely headed to the All-Star game. He is younger than Bryce Harper, who's been in the big leagues seemingly for years and years now.
Well, and you know, one of the things that we watch Mike Trout hit. One of the things that I think accounts for it is, you know, we talk about club baseball at the youth level and the year-round stuff, and you know, while it's a detriment maybe to pitching, and you know that may be one of the reasons for the Tommy John surgery, this and that, but what it also provides is kids to play in atmospheres where
you can learn to yank a ball down into the corner like that. A leadoff double for Mike Trout in the home 7th. Didn't mean to interrupt you. It just seemed like the thing to say.
I was watching. I got caught up in watching Mike Trout pull this pitch. Keeps it fair. Look at that. I love the back elbow tucked. Contact extension made when it's bent. Then he follows through. Hips through the zone. But anyhow, getting back to that, you know, these kids are playing such competitive baseball year-round in stressful situations that now when they get to the big leagues, you know, they've gone through a lot of similar situations at these tournaments. So yeah, I think that's why you're seeing a lot of these younger players come up to the big leagues and have success.
And from the young superstar Mike Trout to the senior guard Albert Pujols, who'll be walked intentionally here. Hard to find fault with this, as Pujols will be intentionally passed, and that's no disrespect to Freese and Giavotella. But the Mariners would like to be set up for a chance to get a double play ball.
Hey, but this is what we talked about at the top of the show. One of the keys, you know, Freese has got to get hot, because if whoever is batting behind these two right now is going to get a ton of opportunities. You know, that's where Kendrick was last year, or Hamilton. And then you're going to have to produce. You know, is David Freese that guy? Well, he certainly is today.
He's got one of the 4 Angel hits this afternoon, his 4th inning double. First and second to start the inning.
You know, if you're Freese right now, you're looking for something up in the zone. Probably going to be away. He's not going to throw you a strike on the inner half of the plate. And he's going to try to induce a double play to get you to swing at it. But ahead in the count, you look for something up and away to drive to right center. See, now 2-0. So you, again, I'm looking for a mistake, because inside, he's going to have to come way in. What you don't want to do is hit this ball on the ground.
Right-hander Mark Lowe is up in the Seattle bullpen. That's the first time we've seen a reliever in either uniform up today. 2-0 to David Freese. Misses inside to make it 3 balls and no strikes. Giavotella next. Trout doubled. Pujols intentionally walked. And now Zunino and Happ want to have a chat.
Well, you see where he's trying to get him out. He's going hard inside with the fastball. He's just missing. You know, that inside fastball right there, trying to tie up Freese. Hit something on the ground and do some double play. That's where they tried to go last night, where they were pitching him, go inside.
Happ's 3-0 home. Misses for ball 4. So after the intentional walk, Freese is passed on 4 pitches. That of the unintentional variety. And now an interesting situation gets a little dicier for Seattle. Bases loaded, nobody out for Johnny Giavotella.
Well, Giavotella is grounded out to short and third base today. Seattle hoping for another ground ball here.
Talked earlier about some of Giavotella's big hits for the Angels this year. Second on the team in go-ahead runs batted in. 7 game-winning RBI, trying to ensure and pad a lead here. That one's fouled away.
There was that fastball up and away. Giavotella offering at it.
Very good numbers with the bases loaded in limited opportunity in his career. Haps 0-1. A ball and a strike. Left-handed hitter Matt Joyce is due up next. And you know Lloyd McClendon would like for Happ to be able to negotiate this at-bat successfully and then stick around for the south-swinging Joyce. These have been situations the Angels have capitalized on this year. The bases loaded situation, that is.
Nice play by Zunino there.
2-1. Trout, Pujols, and Freese aboard with nobody out. Angels have led ever since the bottom of the first when they got the 2-run home run by Cole Calhoun.
You see 13 balls, only 4 strikes. Now one of them an intentional walk, but not the ratio you want.
And it's 3 balls and a strike to Giavotella. I don't know if he loses this batter, does he stick around to face Matt Joyce simply because of the matchup, or do you go to the well at that point?
No, I think he's in for this hitter and Joyce. He's got Joyce twice on strikeouts, but immediate concern right now is Giavotella.
Who he loses to a base hit to right field. That brings in Trout. 3-1 Angels.
Well, he got that fastball away, and again, sometimes as a hitter you can get greedy up there with the bases loaded. Giavotella does not. Strikes the ball well, goes the other way. He had the same pitch in his first attempt in this at bat. He fouled it back, but then worked the count to his favor. 3-1. Gets a fastball away, shoots it to right for an RBI.
Seattle pitching coach Rick Wade's had to talk to Happ. A run in, base is still loaded with nobody out, and the left-handed hitting Matt Joyce, the batter. This will likely be Happ's final plate appearance. Mark Lowe's ready to go in the pen. And it looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter now as Eric Ibar, who did not start because of a hamstring issue that flared up yesterday, will swing the bat off the bench. The switch hitting Ibar will turn around and bat right-handed against Happ, and we'll see if that forces Seattle's hand now. Boy, now the Seattle's in a spot they cannot make the change because there's already been a mound conference. And here's the matchup with the bases loaded that we're going to see. Ball and no strikes to Ibar.
Seattle's got the infield in on the right side, halfway on the left side of the infield. You got the slow running Pujols at third.
A ball and a strike. It was officially hamstring tightness that forced Ibar from the game last night. Came at a time when he was eager to get out there too. Had a 7-game hitting streak that was hot, and it came on the heels of a really bad spell in which he was 1 for 27. So Ibar had figured it out, turned things around, and then the hamstring flared up on him yesterday.
Well, you see this inning, it just hasn't had the control, but it started off with the Mike Trout double. Again, Mike Trout was 1 and 2. Drove a ball down the line, then the intentional walk to Pujols, but couldn't find any command against Freese. Walked him, and trouble had started.
Popped him up, and that will not get the run in. A big first out by Jay Happ as the pinch hitter is retired. Bases still loaded, 1 away.
Lloyd McClellan staying with J.A. Happ.
So it'll be the right-handed hitting catcher Carlos Perez, 0 for 2 so far today. This is something that Mike Scioscia talked to us about before the game. The Angels' inability this year to score runs on outs, something that they did well last season. Statistically, it's backed up. They're just not doing it as often this year. Run producing outs. Last year, only the Detroit Tigers had more of them. This year, the Angels are in the middle of the pack in baseball.
And again, you talk about the types of hitters that they have this year. And I'll go back. I'll say it again. Howie Kendrick, one of the most professional at-bats, knows what he's doing, has a plan. You know, whether that's getting runners over, taking the ball the other way, hitting the fly ball when he needs it. They're missing that this year. Nice play by Zunino. See him shuffling over, getting that body in front. Again, as well as he's doing defensively, I mean, I guess you can understand why they're not that they're okay, but they'll live with that batting average right
now. The 1-2, a chopper and a tough chance. Miller has only one play, that's to first, where they just barely get the out on Perez. That was good enough, however, to bring in the run as Pujols scores, and exactly what we were talking about a moment ago. A run producing out for the Angels makes it 4-1 Los Angeles.
Well, no play at all for Miller. You see Perez just drive this ball straight into the ground. It shoots up high. Not a chance to get Pujols at home. Barely gets Perez over at first base.
So runners at second and third with 2 runs in and 2 away now for the number 9 hitter Taylor Featherston. We have an update, by the way, on Robinson Cano from the Seattle clubhouse, and apparently he left the game, experienced dizziness, understandably, after getting hit in the head with that throw, and is currently undergoing MLB's concussion protocol. That's the official word here in the press box at this moment. And if you're just tuning in, we hope this doesn't become the biggest story of the day. But it was between innings. Robinson Cano was on the bench, and an errant throw during infield hit him in the head.
I mean, you don't want to say he was lucky, but just think if that's an eye area or even in the mouth.
Another good block by Zunino.
Yeah, Zunino doing a nice job back there.
The inning started with Trout's double. Pujols was intentionally walked. Freese walked on 4 pitches. Giavotella had the RBI single. After an Eric Ibar pop out, Carlos Perez hit a ground ball that scored a second run. Two balls and 2 strikes to Featherston.
You see 30 pitches in this 7th inning. There's no control at all. Lloyd McClellan sticking with him, though.
In the air out to shallow right. A trio of Mariners are there, and it's Mark Trumbo that makes the catch for the final out of the inning. Not before the Angels get 2 to the 8th. Now 4-1 Los Angeles. They all happen on one place. Don't miss the 86th annual All-Star Game. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Tuesday, July 14th on Fox. Well, a little taller order for the Seattle comeback effort here after 2 runs by the Angels last half inning. A 3-run hole for Seattle, and it'll be Mike Zunino to try to start the digging out. Zunino, Morrison, and Smith against Garrett Richards. Been a pretty good day for Mike Zunino. A base hit. He scored Seattle's only run and blocked a handful of balls in the dirt in that last half inning alone that might have changed the dialogue.
Yeah, he's been great behind the plate. Looking to get something going here. You know, the Mariners have had their opportunities today. You know, they haven't been able to make productive outs where that either means getting a guy over or getting him in. Garrett Richards has been dynamite. Great stuff. Still throwing hard. Breaking ball in the dirt that guys have been offering at.
There's a breaking ball hit well out to left center field. Trout giving chase, looking up, and that one is gone. Solo shot for Mike Zunino. A good day got that much better.
Well, this is an 0-2 pitch here. And Richards has been so good with the breaking ball today. This thing just didn't have the same bite on it. Zunino does a nice job. Absolutely crushes this thing. Look at Richards. What? They hit my breaking ball?
So a 4-2 story, and now it's Logan Morrison with nobody out. I would imagine that the pressure on Mike Zunino, given the fact that many of his more decorated mates have also struggled, the pressure on him is immense. You don't want to be the guy, obviously, with the lowest batting average among all qualified players. And perhaps today's the day for Mike Zunino to start changing that discussion. A couple of hits, including a home run.
Well, you know, to his credit, at least watching him today, he hasn't let it impact his defense. And that's something that becomes very difficult when you're struggling, especially on the offensive end. It just becomes all-consuming. But he's got such an important role guiding this pitching staff that really supersedes any offense that he may or may not be bringing to the table. I think that speaks volumes of his character. And, you know, that's why the Mariners are very hopeful.
Started the day at $163. Again, the lowest among qualified players. Boy, and the lowest batting average all time, 66 games into the season. There's a bouncer out to second base. Giavotella gathers it up and gets Morrison for route number 1. You also don't want to be the guy, if you play in Seattle, that has that, because there's a handful of establishments in the greater Seattle area. I know you're familiar, including, I believe, the name of the joint is Swanee's, and they do the price of a draft beer based on whoever's struggling the most on the Mariners roster, and whether it's you know, Richie Sexson, who had a couple of tough years there, or I know Dave Valley still bristles at the thought that, you know, there was a $1.75 draft beer named after him. You don't want to be that guy either.
But I think that works in your favor, though.
Both of those guys had great major league careers.
Yeah, but it works in your favor. I mean, are you going to get booed at the hometown games? I mean, they're going to be rooting for you to get out. That's cheaper beer.
The swing and a miss by Seth Smith, and it's 0-2.
You know, I got a note from Aaron Charlton back at Stats. It was telling me that since 1999, there have been only 20 players, I shouldn't say 20 players, 20 recorded seasons of a 300 or above average by a Mariner player. Half of those were by Ichiro, the other two Edgar Martinez. So again, it just illustrates how difficult it is to hit at Safeco. I don't care if you're moving in the fence, what you're doing. It's not a fun place to hit.
2 out in the inning as Robertson makes the catch on Smith's fly ball. And instead of Robinson Cano here with 2 out, it's Willie Bloomquist making his first plate appearance today after coming on for Cano defensively. And again, to reset the story, it was a couple of innings ago with Cano coming off the field, sitting on the bench, and the Angels taking infield prior to the start of the inning, that a throw got away from Featherston, and hit Cano in the head sitting on the bench. There's a bad throw from Featherston during play that leads to a base runner.
Way to set that up, Matty.
Didn't even
very good.
Yeah, I didn't try to go there, but it ended up playing out before our very eyes.
He's got a lot of time right there. His wings is right by Albert. See Albert trying to dive for. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, that really, it's not even. I don't even know what that is.
It's going to be it for Garrett Richards. He'll exit after the error with the tying run on its way to the plate. We'll be right back. For live baseball, at bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat now. Well, Garrett Richards matches a season high with 7 2/3 innings of work today, hoping that his bullpen can hold. And Joe Smith has been among those most reliable in that regard for the Angels all year. 19 holds on the season for him. That gives him a share of the major league lead in that category. One job to do here, and that's get Nelson Cruz with 2 out and a runner aboard. Cruz, for his part, has doubled in 3 tries today. That came to lead off the second. One of the frustrating innings for the M's, in which they had a runner in scoring position with less than 2 out and failed to get that runner across. Willie Bloomquist, the runner at second. He reached on an error, and that was the end of the afternoon for Garrett Richards.
Well, as frustrating as it's been for Seattle today, just one swing away from tying this ball game, and not a better guy at the plate than this man right now for this ball club.
You had talked about it earlier, the fact that Nelson Cruz got off to such a blazing start this year. But the results have not been quite as good the last handful of games. In fact, you go back the last 26. Behind 1 and 2 now is Nelson Cruz.
No, but this is the man, though, you want up with runners in scoring position if you're Seattle. Again, hitting over 300 this year with runners in scoring position, the only Mariner to do so. Coming into today, hit 75 at-bats. Most on the ball club. I had mentioned Cano had that at Cruz.
Struck him out. Joe Smith comes out of the bullpen, ties up Nelson Cruz, and holds the lead. Still 4-2 Angels. And by Pepsi, the official soft drink of MLB. Hey, a reminder, fill out your 2015 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot now at MLB.com/vote. You can vote on your computer, tablet, or smartphone up to 35 times at MLB.com/vote. Into the Seattle bullpen for the first time for right-hander Mark Lowe, making his 21st appearance of the year. Still working to an ERA under a run. Top of the Angels order in the bottom of the 8th. It'll be Daniel Robertson here taking a strike. Robertson, Calhoun, and Trout. Looking for perhaps a little more breathing room. The Angels padded their 2-1 lead with 2 in the 7th. Seattle got one of them back on the Zunino home run in the top of the 8th. 0-2.
Yeah, Lowe not messing around. 95-mile-an-hour fastballs. Head of Robertson now.
A bouncer to second for Bloomquist, and one away. Houston Street up for the Angels. About as reliable as they come at the end of a game. When Seattle bats in their half of the 9th, they'll have Seager, Trumbo, and Miller. The 5, 6, 7 part of Lloyd McClendon's order. So here's Calhoun now. His 2-run home run in the first got things started. It's a lead that the Angels have not given back. should today's end right here at a 4-2 score, it would fall right in line with the last handful of Angels-Mariners contests. 11 straight decided by 3 runs or fewer, and almost all of those of the low-scoring, well-pitched variety. That's kind of how these two teams have matched up since August of last year. A ball and 2 strikes.
And if the Angels continue to hold on to win, Houston losing today, the New York Yankees 9-6, that'll put them 3 behind in the loss column. You know, and that's the thing, the Angels and Mariners, you know, neither one of them have played well yet they're still right there.
And there are 2 gone here in the 8th. Time now for Pepsi's most thrilling historical moments of the game, and we take you back to last season when Mike Trout won the AL MVP, and earlier this season when he got his 2014 AL MVP trophy. Joined Mickey Mantle as the only players to finish runner-up in consecutive seasons before winning the following year. And at 23, Mike Trout, the 5th youngest to claim that prestigious award. Trout has doubled and scored this afternoon. 2 out, bases empty for him here. You can't really hang on one young guy for very long in baseball now, because there is a new flavor of the day being called up to start his career seemingly every couple of weeks. We started this discussion earlier. No longer are Harper and Trout the new kids on the block, because there's a whole new class of Chris Bryants and Jock Petersons and Carlos Correas that have grabbed our attention the last few months. These guys are the established stars now, players like Mike Trout.
Well, I think what's interesting, as you mentioned it earlier, Harper's younger than all these guys. You know, you talk about also, you know, Joey Gallo over in Texas. I mean, that guy probably has as much power as anybody in baseball.
Did I read that he started in center field today?
I think you may have read that.
They're doing everything they can to keep him in the lineup, even though Adrian Beltre is healthy again for the Rangers.
How about all those guys playing together in youth baseball? Harper, Bryant, Gallo,
all Vegas kids.
Yeah.
The team must have been pretty good. It should have been pretty good. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Mike Trout. Albert Pujols waiting a chance next with 2 away should Trout have success. And Houston Street ready to roll and work the top of the 9th. Here is Lowe's 3-2 pitch home. That's ball 4, and Pujols will have a chance to bat here in the inning. Pujols was intentionally walked in that 2-run rally in the 7th. He was able to score one of those 2 tallies. Batting here with 2 out and a runner on. So we have further word on the Robinson Cano injury. And with Pujols at the plate, his reaction to that errant throw told you everything you needed to know. Word from the Mariners training room is no concussion. They're saying it's a head contusion, and Cano is listed day to day. Very good news indeed.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse. Again, still, if you're the guy that gets hit in the head, it's not good. But fortunate it wasn't in an eye or mouth.
I mean, Tim Lincecum injured today. Andrew McCutchen injured today. Giancarlo Stanton yesterday. He can't afford to lose any more of these All-Stars. A ball and a strike to count to Pujols, and this is what happened earlier between innings once again. Watch the ball as it gets to the Seattle dugout and catches Cano, who was looking the other way, right in the head.
The thing just nodded right up, too. God.
Ball and 2 strikes to Albert. How many first basemen are they going to take on that roster? I mean, Ned Yost, that's his most challenging position for the American League All-Stars.
You have the DH spot, so you can use those guys in the DH role, right? So you know you're going to take your own guy, Hosmer. That's what managers do, as well they should.
2-2.
Although he was saying again, you don't get to choose. As a manager of the respective clubs, you get maybe 2 or 3 guys because you know you're subject to at least one representative from each team. Then you have the voting, the players, all that sort of stuff. So it's not like in the old days where the managers got to choose, you know, 7 or 8 guys.
Right, right. Two to Pujols is shot into right field, a base hit. Trout will get to third base easily. And that sets up a very interesting matchup here with 2 out and 2 on in the inning. Here's why it's interesting. Flashing back to Game 6 of the 2011 World Series, when David Freese hit one of the most dramatic home runs in World Series history against the man he's facing right now. With much lower stakes, Mark Lowe will get another crack at David Freese, or vice versa. Part of an electrifying fall run for Freese and the Cardinals. First pitch to Freese here with runners at the corners, misses off the plate. One and one. Again in the Seattle ninth, they'll have Seager, Trumbo, and Miller. And it's a ball and 2 strikes to David Freese.
Here's Trumbo, Miller.
Angels out hit so far today, but in front by 2, and a called strike 3 taken by Freese, leaving 2 stranded. Houston Street trying to lock things down. We go to the 9th with the Angels on top by 2. Huston Street has been pretty tough. Seattle has one last crack to try to get into this thing and prevent this series from being split so far, 1 game apiece.
As reliable as anyone in the game. Got the great changeup. Excellent command of the fastball. And more important than anything for him, he's got a 2-run lead to work with.
Seager, Trumbo, and Miller here for Seattle. The only damage by the Mariners today, the big damage at least, the bottom of the order, the very bottom, and Mike Zunino. There's a first pitch drive out to right field. It takes Calhoun all the way to the wall for the first out.
Well, here's a key moment. 6th inning, David Freese makes a diving stop. If that ball gets by, that's a run right there. Keeps a double play in order. First and third, Robinson Cano comes up. Richards induces the double play. No run scored. It's a defensive play. Is the key to the game. Did I say Freese had to get hot prior to the game, right? I was talking defense. I wasn't talking offense.
I see. I'll buy that.
Do you even remember what I said at the beginning of the game?
I don't remember what I said at the beginning of the game. Here's Mark Trumbo now with 1 gone. Trumbo 0 for 2 with a walk today. Out to center field, a routine play for Mike Trout. And a couple of fly balls put the Mariners 1 out away from a Saturday evening loss in Anaheim. So Brad Miller represents a last crack for Seattle today. He singled back in the 7th, lined into a double play in the 5th, struck out in the 2nd. Angel pitching very good today. Garrett Richards 7 2/3. Joe Smith got out of a tight spot in the 8th. And Street hoping to finish the job here in the 9th. $20 saves for Houston Street this year puts him in the conversation for American League All-Star representation. That's the 3rd highest total in the circuit.
That changeup, man.
Seattle down to its final strike. Man with the highest save percentage over the last 5 seasons. Looking for the last strike of the night. He will have to wait. A base hit into right center keeps hope alive for the Mariners.
Dustin Ackley's had a tough day. 2 strikeouts, ground ball to 3rd. Look at the season, a frustrating season, but he does have the power to hit one out. Again, as much as Seattle has struggled today, still 1 swing of the bat away from tying this thing up.
Miller going off the bag at first. He'll get into 2nd uncontested. A ball and no strikes to Dustin Ackley. Limited head-to-head matchups between these two. Ackley 1 for 5 with a double against Houston Street. He takes a strike, 1-1. Again, Houston has lost today, a 9-6 decision at home against the Yankees. So this afternoon's winner obviously picks up a game on the division lead. Should it be the Angels, they trail by 4. Two balls and a strike.
Excellent pitch right there. Houston Street wanted that.
That's the second time that home plate umpire and crew chief Jeff Nelson has taken a baseball out of play in the last handful of pitches. Again, Ackley the tying run in a 4-2 game. Miller off the bag at second. And the 2-1 from Street. 3 balls and a strike with Mike Zunino waiting on deck. He has homered today.
Yeah, homered, single as well. Hit the ball hard to short. But again, I still think you want to be fine here. And try and hit a corner. Don't just throw a strike for the sake of throwing a strike. Gone outside, he continues, and you see where Perez is set up off the plate.
The 3-1, and it's a full count. Street trying to hold up the decision for Garrett Richards.
Well, he's got a great changeup. Perfect time to throw it low and away here.
The payoff pitch.
I do the same thing. Come right back with that changeup again.
Again, Seattle has out-hit the Angels today, but they have never enjoyed a lead. And down to their final strike once more. Here is the next payoff pitch from Houston Street. Missed inside, ball 4. Threw him a fastball there.
Yeah, completely missed his spot. Perez set up on the outer part of the plate. Almost felt like he wanted that pitch. I mean, he missed the target, but not so sure it didn't go over part of the plate.
So now Mike Zunino, who again is 2 for 3 on the afternoon. He's been the most effective Seattle bat today. His 8th home run coming in the 8th inning. He represents the go-ahead run with 2 out and 2 on. Just a wee bit early. 0-1.
I think you got to go fastballs away here. Get Perez out of the strike zone. Have him set up. I mean, you just can't do it.
That was an uncomfortable kind of gesture by Mike Scioscia a moment ago that we caught. Like, no more of that.
Fastball or slot, something. Get away. There you go.
Miller singled with 2 out. Ackley walked. And now Zunino's 0-2, and again Seattle's down to its final strike.
Well, the scary thing is Houston Street's missed it. I mean, that pitch got a good part of the middle inside part of the plate. Again, Perez set up way away. Got to get out of that zone.
Nothing and 2 to Mike Zunino. 2 on, 2 out, top of the 9th in a 2-run game. And Houston does not want to miscommunicate with his catcher. So Carlos Perez comes out for a chat.
He also doesn't want Perez setting up too early where the runner at second can relay the location.
Perez setting up well off the corner and the 0-2 on one hop to shortstop. Another dicey throw, but Giavitello is able to hang on, and the Angels hang on to a 4-2 victory this afternoon.
Well, you see Giavitello, he kind of lays out. He's expecting the nice routine throw, makes a nice catch defensively. Nice play.
Houston Street's 21st